welcome to my channel. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. My name is Brittany, and today I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update on where I am with things after I've put my channel and Instagram on sabbatical mode. Let you know how that's going. And then I wanted to do my October 2024 bullet journal flip. Originally, I was gonna just do like the opening spread photo and a community post, but then I thought, well, I've used so much materials. I thought you guys might like to know what I used, how I used it, etc. And then also, this was really what I needed, guys. I needed to set this up off camera, go back to how I used to do it, what was tried and true for me, and just relax and enjoy the process. I think you'll be able to tell a difference in my spreads. I was a lot more detail oriented. I put a lot more variety in my spreads, and I used all of these materials. So unlike when I recorded my bullet journal setups on my channel before, I didn't just stick to like one tool. Like I tried to only do Tombow dual tip brush markers, or I tried to only do the Crayola super tips, because I don't have that much workspace here and I can't just have my art stuff everywhere. So I actually set this up at my other desk, which has a lot more workspace than where I film at, and so I was able to lay everything out. I was able to have my journal open fully. I was able to set stuff aside and work on other projects whenever I needed a break. And I will say this took me about 3 days to do. Not straight. I didn't do it straight. But with taking breaks. And so that gives you a little bit of an idea of how I used to do it versus how I was doing it on camera with you guys. When I film it on camera, I do edit that video, and so I go from about anywhere from an hour to 2 hours worth of material, and then I try to cut it down to 45 minutes. And so you do miss some elements when I film it, but you really missed elements with this one. So let me just get in there, and this is exactly what I needed. I needed to go back to what worked for me and just do it my way. And so October's theme, you guys know, was Coraline. And I absolutely love the film Coraline. I watch it every year, multiple times a year around this time. And I love buttons. I collect buttons. I love the little doll that YB finds that's like a replica of Coraline. And I love cats. You guys know I have cats. And the whole idea behind it, I just really enjoy it. So to do this spread, I did a rough sketch of an inspiration photo I found for the opposite of my month. And then I just colored it. This is a combination of, I'll pull things out. So I used a Pigment micron to do my outlining. I did these markers, interestingly enough, they're Tombow water-based pigment ink Fudenosuke pens, and they're supposed to be for black paper. It says right there, for black paper, but I've tried them on black paper and they do not show up. So I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with these, so I just used them here on my bullet journal and it came out fine. And then I do have some Crayola super tips on here. And then this silver that's kind of like shining is that liquid chrome mirror effect pen that I like so well. And so this was a variety of different items. Up here for the button moon, I used one of my rubber stamps. And to get this effect, I just took two different Ranger archival ink pads, and I did like half with one color and half with the other color, and then I stamped it, and then I did the little button drawing going over top of it. And then the same thing for the month. I doodled with pencil first. I sketched with that Graph Gear 500.3 lead mechanical pencil, and then I went in and I lined it with the 01 Archival Ink Pigment Micron pen. And for the letters, to get that bold, thick line, I used this Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, the soft tip. So this is a pen that's really good for like calligraphy, practicing your down and up strokes, and I used it to create the letters. And I tried to write like the Coraline font or text from the movie, but I don't know if you could really tell that. And then I did the button key. I did a little bit of leaf work here because Coraline's parents are writing a gardening magazine article. So I thought that was really appropriate for me too because of my florals and my love for drawing flowers. Then opening up, we have for the movies, so my little stamps, what are they, pilot stamps that I usually use for my movies and music, they're running out of ink. And so I decided that I was going to draw for this setup. So I did the little candies from the theater that the old ladies give to Coraline to like bust open to get the little eyepiece out of. And inside each of the wrappers, I'm going to write the movies that I watch or that I want to see, and then I'll just check them off. I did a little Pink Palace Apartments that Coraline lives in. I did the little placard. Instead of apartments, I changed it out for a theater. And for that, I don't know if that's showing up. Let me move that a little bit there. You can see it better. For that, the background is the Tombow dual tip marker brushes. And then the lettering I did with the Uniball Signo red gel pen. For the candy swirls, again I used those Tombow pens that are supposed to be for black paper, but for whatever reason they don't work. And then for the lining, I did the Micron black pen in 01. And on the opposite, I drew the little musical mice, the bouncing mice from the movie with the ball. This is like the director here. And drew little microphones for the songs that I'm going to listen to, which that was another thing that I loved about doing this off camera. I was able to put my music on. Alex Rainbird, I tell you guys this every month. I listen to that while I set this up. It's like my little tradition, my little habit. I do it all the time, and it was so nice. And so I did that, and have a couple songs picked out already that I want to put in here. And I did watch a movie too one of the days that I was working on this, so that movie's got to get written down. And then I did a little trumpet here with some music notes because some of the mice play musical instruments. I think they play trumpets, trombones, drums, and I don't know if there's any woodwinds or not. I think it's all brass instruments. So that's what I did different for the music and movies. And then for the first week, I decided to draw large buttons. And I did that with the help of this little guy. So the outside is just this large one, and then the inner one is the second from the largest. This is a red circle tool, and what I like about this is, I don't know if you can see them, but on the circles you have these little north, south, east, west lines, and that is what I use to line up with my dot grids to help me get them where I wanted them to be. And like I said, I did something different each week. Normally when I film for you guys, I try to like keep it simple so that I can just go with the flow and make sure the video is not too long. But for this, being able to take my time, I was able to explore with different layouts. So each week you're going to see something different. And then for my little quote, I have the note that YB wrote to Coraline when he found the doll at his grandma's. And then I have the quote that Coraline yells out to her other father when he's showing her the garden. And I did a little button there. And then I have a little, what was it, praying mantis, I think, that the other father was riding through the garden. I did the head of that. Oh, and I wanted to mention too, these stickers that I used for the flowers, those are ones that I printed on washi sticker paper that I found from a new religious, what do you want to call it, like a stationery store, and it's called Open Journey, and I've been using it for like devotional and extra Bible study resources because of my journaling Bible journey that I'm on. And they're just so beautiful. I wanted to have them included, plus the colors kind of go with it. So, oh, and also I used washi tape in a couple of places. So the washi I used, let me see if I can find it. I also used some Elmer's washable school glue to do the photo that I printed out from online. And then the washies, I believe both of these, I know for sure that this glittery star one is Amanda Rach Lee washi tape. She also does bullet journals here on YouTube. She's very well known for them. She's kind of like how I got started into bullet journaling, her and Autumn Riley, but I believe this one is hers also. I might be wrong about that. So that's where the washi's from. And then the next week I did the tunnel for the doorway that Coraline goes in. I tried my hardest to capture all the different like fluorescent hues that are in the like soft structure of the tunnel, because as she goes through it to the other family world, if you will, as she like presses down, the colors kind of like crawl up the walls, so that's why it's so colorful. And then for this week I put everything on one page, and I kind of liked how that turned out actually. So I don't remember ever doing this before in one of my bullet journal layouts, but I like how it looks. I like the cleanness of it. The numbers down at the bottom, I don't know, I might change that somehow, like maybe put them on the reverse, because now that I'm looking at it, it kind of looks a little lopsided where it's empty above the letter of the week, the day of the week. But maybe I could put a little doodle there. And then more of that washi tape. Then the next week I did something different again. So this is kind of laid out like the button week is, only I did like thread around the circle. So originally I did the circle, yes, I did, I think the second to the largest on this one, and then to make it look like thread I just scribbled around that outline with the 01 fine liner. Then I took the thread out and wrote the day of the week. Then down at the bottom I have some more washi. I kind of just tore it. I will say that that glitter tape is very difficult to tear, so I kind of try to cut it jaggedy because I don't have any like of those creative shears on hand, so I just kind of fussy cut jagged edges. And then I drew the gloves that Coraline wants when her mother takes her to go school uniform shopping, because I personally love them and I would love a pair myself. And then I did just a nice little border at the top with Tombow dual tip marker and just wrote October. For the next week I did the other mother's cobweb that Coraline kind of like falls into, and then she has to climb her way back out. The only thing that I don't really like about this is I was trying to get it angular, like to make it look kind of like it has like a shelf or an indentation from where she fell, and I didn't quite achieve that. I more or less just made it oblong but I still like it. I think it looks good. This was fun to create because I didn't have to worry about the lines. So the boxes for each day were supposed to be like messy, broken cobwebs. And so I didn't have to worry about them being straight. I just went really quick. I drew them out and did a filled in black circle for the day. And then I used that liquid chrome mirror pen somewhere in here to do the dates. This little green here is a micron pen as well. There it is there. It's again a 01. And then my little quote down here I did in the dual tip brushes. I used this one and I believe it was this one. Maybe. I used so much stuff, guys. So much stuff. And then I drew a little needle with thread and a little ring that the neighbor ladies have. And washi across the top, of course. For the next week, I have the final week of the month. I did the little Chinese lantern flowers. I don't know for sure if that's what they are in the movie. That's kind of what they reminded me of, though. I think they're possibly supposed to be like an illustration type of bleeding hearts, however, but they look like both. So Chinese lanterns, the difference would be that the tip is actually closed, so it comes to a point. Bleeding hearts do flare out, and the stamina actually comes out of the bottom. So I'm guessing these are more like the bleeding heart flower, but like a cartoon version. I have washi at the bottom. And then for gratitude, I did the neighbor who trains the musical mice. Where's that guy at? This guy. So he ordered a bunch of cheese in the movie, and Coraline mistakenly gets the package, so she goes to give it to him. And she's like, why do you want all this? And he's like, because my mice, you know, they're not responding to this specific type of cheese. So he had to order special cheese. So I thought that was so funny. But I had to have him in here somewhere just because he's hilarious to me. And originally what I wanted to do was have his knees bent out from when he's doing like his workout regimen where he does like squats, because I thought that was hilarious. But I thought that it looked a little odd with having his arms bent, because when he goes down, his arms are out. And if I were to do that, the arm would like black out one of my gratitude lines, and I didn't want to do that. And I thought it would look weird having a space in the middle of my gratitude list. So I just had his arms kind of on his hips and straight legged. But of course he had to be in there. And then my month in Polaroids, I kept it simple because every time I fill in my month in Polaroids, I literally fill the whole thing. And I don't just do like your standard size Polaroids. I have created a template in my Silhouette Portrait machine with different size blocks that I can just fill in the blocks with my photos so that they'll automatically crop to that size. And then I just put them all over. So it's literally like a confetti page of photos, which I absolutely love. Originally, I did, I think, 6 photos per page of like my favorite moments of the month. But it got to the point where when we were taking our day trips and we were traveling and stuff, I had too many photos that I wanted to remember. And so I made them smaller and I made them different sizes, and I like that a lot better. So I did not do a mood tracker because I couldn't decide on which mood tracker I wanted to do. Originally, I had thought that I was going to do different color buttons, but then I thought, well, what if I just do an entire spread of the drawer that the other mother has of buttons, like pairs of buttons that she would choose for the eyes of whoever she wanted to have in her world. But then I thought, well, that's going to take a long time to draw. So I ultimately just did away with it because I thought that my gratitude log would be a good indication of what mood I was in. And also, Here, something that I started last month in September was if something like special happened on a specific day, say I got like a long awaited stationery item, or we went on an anticipated trip, or like I got a really cool letter from a pen pal or something like that. I just wrote it into the day. So I don't know if I'm going to continue omitting the mood tracker or if it'll just be for the month of October. I do want to say or confess or whatever that for November I am kind of stumped on what I'm going to do for it again, because November the journal is going to be a dedication to my late grandfather, who during World War II was in the Army Air Corps and went out on missions to rescue people. So I don't know, I could do like little stars or ribbons. I don't know, I'm still thinking about it. So with this, I'm going to list as many items that I used during my setup as possible in the description of this video. And then one of the things that I decided, a little update, is there's nothing that I can do about the ads that were added to my more recent videos. I talked to my husband about it. I've done some research. All I can do, guys, is apologize. Me, personally, when I view videos, I hate when the ads pop up. I try to skip them if I can, especially if it's like an informative video where I'm trying to learn something or research something. So all I can do is apologize. I'm very sorry if this video gets them, and I'm sorry for any of my other ones that have them, because as I said before, my channel is not monetized, and I don't know, there's nothing I can do. I can't stop them from doing that. So with that said, I am going to make all of my playlists and videos live again so that you can go back and watch them. And then in my video where I did my Q3 review, I am going to add in links to my description of that video for other videos that I mentioned. So in that one, I showed you guys how in August I was doing the floral stickers for my monthly challenge in the calendar layout of my Hobonichi Techo. And I'll link that for you in case you're new to the channel and you missed that one. And then I think there were 2 other videos I might have mentioned. So yeah, and then I'm still working on my Instagram, guys, so it is still private at the moment. I have gotten a couple requests for followers, and if you're watching this video or any of the other ones, I'm very sorry that I declined your request, but I'm not finished with it yet. I'm not ready for it to go live, so I'll continue to update you guys. There is going to be a Tea with Brittany video this month, right? Let me see my notes here. Yes, October does have one, and then let's see, did I do one in August? I think I did. But so in that video I will give you guys another update, let you know how things are going, where I am with stuff. I do want to say too, on my art, I have gotten a little bit of my confidence back. In one of my classes, I was complimented by one of my classmates, and this process really helped because I was able to take my time. But I do want to share that with you guys a little bit. So let me clean this up so that I have space to show you, because I did say that I would share that journey with you guys. I can't tell you too much about what I'm doing in my classes, just because, you know, that's the property of the professor, but I can show you what I drew and tell you a little bit about how I arrived at that. So I'll do my best to show you in this small space, but some of it is on a larger scale, so give me just a second. Alright, I am going to have to move this stuff. Let me see, camera's probably going to shake, sorry in advance. Hopefully it didn't shake too terribly. Alright, so in my one class, let me grab a piece of paper, just because I don't think you're going to be able to see it very well because of what's behind it. Okay, maybe this will help. So in my one class, we had to create like a still life to do our first drawing from. And so I used, let's see, I used this pen case that a pen pal very, very generously gifted me. These are all the pens that she got me also. Absolutely love them. I also used my new infinity cross necklace, which needs to be cleaned, it looks like. So just to give you guys an idea, I had it kind of set up like this, where that was kind of like hanging out of a pen slot there. And then one of my photos that I took, I entered it into an art gallery and it got accepted for a jury exhibit. It did not win jury selection, but it still is in like the viewing for the rest of October. I think that is up until October 31st. It's called Lovely Landscapes by the gallery's KBM Gallery. You can view it online and on Instagram. So that image I had here because I was really proud of that. And then here I had my 40/40 challenge race medal because I was almost finished with that. And over here I had my journal that was gifted to me by another pen friend. And so that was like my still life that I had to draw. And so this was just a sketch and we had to time ourselves. So this was me doing like a horizon line or a visual line, gridding out the paper, and just a rough sketch. And that was 1 minute. Then for the next one, let me see here, I have them out of order. We had to do a sketch in 3 minutes. So you can see there is more detail in this one. I got more of the elements down. Hopefully you can see that. I draw with a very light hand. That's just how I am, and that's because when I erase, as you probably could tell from my bullet journal, I want to be able to get the graphite off the paper. Otherwise it's going to mess up my drawings. So then we had to do a 5 minute, which I was able to get down even more of the details, and a 15 minute. And then we gave ourselves a half hour, which is back here. And if memory serves, I did all of this in less than a half an hour, actually, because I remember looking at the clock and I was like, oh, there's still 6 minutes left. So in one of my recent drawings, my perspective drawing, one of my classmates asked me, and I'll show you that here in a minute, how long it took me to draw some of the details in one of the items that I have in the drawing, and I just spent a couple of hours on it. So like with my bullet journal, I told you it took me 2 days, but that's not the whole day. Like it's an hour here, an hour there, you know, whatever. So I got this done, I want to say, in like 24 minutes, and that's a lot of detail in my opinion. Now the finished one of that is on a larger canvas, so you might not see everything, but I'll move it around as best as I can to share that with you. And it's in this big boy here. Just open it up here. Alright, so here is the finished one. So you can see I did a lot of detail with the pen case. I did some stippling, shading, some smudging, or I used a smudge stick. I hope that's showing up. I also did some stippling with the shadow of the infinity cross. And then down here for my metal, I did as much detail as I could on the metal, but I was it was pointed out to me that I should have also done some shading on the decoration of the metal, and I didn't even take that into consideration, honestly. And then the journal, I tried to get as geometrically accurate as possible. So if you remember looking at my previous sketches that were like 30 minutes and under, it was kind of like wonky because I was freestyling it. This I actually used a ruler for and tried to have it more accurately captured. and then I didn't have enough time before the assignment was done to turn in or to shade all of the details in the photograph that got into that gallery. Now, this current one, and I'm going to show you because I already turned it in, so I turned it in earlier this week. So my opinion is if I turn it in, even if it's not graded, I can talk about it. So that's kind of like the rule I've been going with while I've been in classes. So this is my perspective one. And it was a little bit different because rather than having objects, the instructor wanted us to pick like an area or a space in a room, something that we could sit comfortably in front of for an extended period of time and capture the space. So what I did was my journaling nook, which is this area that I film in, and it's pretty much the corner in one of the rooms in my houses. And I have picture frames with pen pal art and poetry in them. I have a knick-knack shelf with rubber stamps, wax seals, ink pads. I have all of my traveler journals up here. I have my Bibling journals over here. I have my ink samples. I mean, it's a very, let's say, creatively organized space. And so I didn't draw all of those elements because, you know, there's no way. I can't do that in a week. So this was my rough sketch. This will give me an idea of what the space looks like that I film in. This is one of them. And so this is without all the details. So the desk doesn't have none of my journals, none of my art supplies, not my mug, anything, not my stand for my camera. These shelves are all covered with my bookbinding leather, my book paper, my book hole punch. Everything that I need for bookmaking is up on these shelves. This is a knick-knack shelf that has all of my little rubber stamps in. I think I showed you guys that on my brief tour. And this is another reason why I'm going to put all of my videos live again, because I talk about previous videos in like my current videos, and I want to be able to link back to those. So I'm going to do that today. But it has all my rubber stamps in it, my wax seals, my ink pads. I have some other smaller images up here. These photo frames are where my pen pal artwork and poetry are. And then these are my self-healing mats with my cork-backed rulers. I have a quilting ruler here. There's just a lot of stuff in this space, and so I couldn't draw all of it. This was a faster, less detailed sketch. This is a different angle. So this includes the side window and the big picture window. And this is something else that I kind of wanted to talk about as sort of an announcement on my channel. So right now, this window right here has a air conditioning unit in it because our what do you call it, central air needs to be inspected. So we put this in as like a temporary stopgap thing. And this huge picture window here, when I film, I have the curtains drawn so that this desk light is my primary source of lighting. But in the winter, when this AC unit is gone, I am going to either turn this into an L desk, or I'm going to get a small little pop-up desk to put in front of this window. So hopefully natural lighting will improve the video quality. That's something I'm going to be testing out while I'm on sabbatical, and hopefully that'll improve. Maybe it won't, my video quality, so that you can see what I'm working on a little bit better. If anything else, it might be a staging opportunity for my photos for Instagram. We'll see, but that's something I'm going to be researching while I'm on sabbatical. And then this one here is similar angle, but I was trying to tighten up the shelving. Now this is all freestyle. This is not with a ruler. The only exception is where I did my cross. section of the paper. That was done with a ruler. Everything else is just with my hand, very quickly doing it. And then this one has more detail yet. So in this one I included my little shelf where I have all of my handmade books. So each one of these shelves, and I don't know how to describe this, it's kind of like, it's a vintage piece, okay? But like how I know them is like in the old school, like old schools, they used to have these, and it would have like your globe inside them. It would have maybe your telescope. Also, sometimes you'll see them in homes where women will use them in kitchens for like a bread type of pantry, or for their potatoes and onions. Sometimes they'll use them as a pie cupboard. Well, anyways, each tier, the shelving system is larger than the next. So the top one is the smallest shelving unit, the second one gets a little bit bigger, and then the third one's the largest, and they have a glass door that opens and then folds back into the cupboard. So that is what that is. My printer, my lamp, and then there's my little AC. So now to see the larger one that I turned in, and I spent a couple of hours on it. Let me just turn the page here. And one of my feedbacks for the previous one was to shade more, like in the entirety. So I really tried to do that with this one. But as you can see, I got a lot more detailed. And once I was able to use the ruler, things really got straightened up. But as I was mentioning in my Q3 review video, I still haven't quite gotten the horizon line thing down with the vanishing points of the perspective drawing technique, because you can see that my angles are slightly off. And I'm just going to turn the camera just a little bit. And so this piece here, my desk, is what I was asked about and complimented on, because I was able to shade it so you could see the wood grain. But I'm actually going to zoom out, so hold on just a second. Okay, hopefully this gives you a little bit better of an idea of the drawing, or at least a larger viewing area. I did do stippling for the shading of the carpet. Get a little bit of a close-up here of the desk. A little knick-knack shelf. The window. Now if you notice here with the shelving, you can see my lines through my graphite. That is something I want to work on improving. And even with a light hand, that still happened. You can still see like my mistake lines, or lines that I erased. And then over here, you can see those geometrical shapes from my previous artwork that I was just showing you that had the still life. So I need to either skip a couple pages in between projects, or get like an artist board to put under my paper, kind of like a pencil board, but like a larger one. So hopefully that won't happen. So I would say that I learned a good bit from this exercise. There's still things that I need to focus on. Like for these shelves, for example, one of my classmates pointed out that they would have liked to have seen more detail. And so what I could have done, I suppose, is drawn the corners of the shelf so that people would have been able to tell that it was an actual shelving unit. But I've decided I'm not going to go back in and work on this anymore, because whatever grade I get on it, I want this to stay in the format that it is that when I submitted it. But yeah, this took a couple of hours. I'm happy with it. I think my drawing's improving. Obviously, there's still things I need to learn, but we're getting there, guys. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this away real quick. Alright. And then I will show you the supplies as best as I can that I used for my bullet journals. So maybe I'll put this over here so it doesn't roll everywhere. So the other thing that I am noticing, like if I go back to how I did it this time in October and how I used to do it, this little pencil pouch is not going to cut it anymore, because usually I have about what's in there now in there all the time that I continually use throughout the month to like do my writing for tasks for the week, or to check things off, or if I do like a doodling challenge for a day. I like to have just those things in this pencil pouch. However, this isn't all gonna fit in there. So I've been looking at Hobonichi because they have these like travel desk pouch things. And yes, this is a makeup brush. I don't wear makeup. I use makeup tools for my artwork. Anyways, and I'm thinking about getting one of those to see if that would give me more space. I mean, obviously it's going to give me more space than the pencil pouch, but this is what I put like pen pal mail in. Obviously it's got a little Longaberger mail baskets tag on it, so it can't go in here. You know what I'm saying? I'll just keep getting these tools out so you can see them all. And this isn't the most I've ever used either. So I know some of you are probably like, oh my gosh, like how did you keep it all straight? I basically have like a, what do you call them? Like a trolley cart? Utility cart. I think they're called utility carts. It's got like 3 different tiers to it, and they have like baskets. Each tier is a basket. And so I actually have 2 of those, and one of them, the whole top of it has a box of like my go-to supplies, and then I have a couple of pen cups on my other desk that have like one whole cup has nothing but these, one whole cup has my uni pen liners, and then the other cup has like my go-to pens for just everyday writing. And then of course I have the Tombow box for all my Tombow markers. I think it holds every Tombow color they have. I wouldn't know because I don't have every color yet. Stationery is expensive, guys. This is like a 3-year process trying to get everything that I want, and I still don't have everything that I need, air quotes, for this stuff that I want to do. But this is what I used for my October bullet journal setup. I'll just go back through it real quick so you can see everything. I don't know if you can see it down here, up here. What would be better? Off to the side? But yeah, so a lot of different tools. Excuse me. And I just grabbed whatever I thought would do the job best. You know, at one point I thought about using my watercolor colored pencils, like for this tunnel. I thought that it would blend nicer with either watercolor or my watercolor pencils, but I ultimately used the Tombow dual tip markers. And what I learned from doing October is some of my supplies is drying out, so I'm going to have to replenish it. Like for example, this pen here, Tombow, it's got gray on this end and black. This is what I use for my drop shadows. So drop shadows, I'll just do one here to show you. Drop shadows, you go partially one end and then all the way to the other end. And then partially from the top, and then you take it all the way down to the other. And this pen is really good for creating drop shadows, but because it's drying out, it makes it a little hard. Like I'm going really slow to make sure that I get adequate ink as I'm laying it down on the page. But you can see like my edges are messy because it's drying out. So I will clean those up as best as I can with the tip. But yeah, that was my go-to pen for that. This is a really nice gray too for the subtle drop shadows. And then one of my Tombow markers is almost dried up too. Now I have noticed, this is a little tip if you're interested, if that happens with your marker, either the pointed tip or with your brush tip, you can spritz it with water or dip it in a cup of water and it'll reactivate for a little bit. So you might be able to extend the life of it a little bit by doing that. I have had success with that. And then one of my Micron pens, the nib is bent. So I'm going to try to get as much life out of that as I can, and then it's going to go in the trash. So, yep. That's everything that I used. And I don't think there's any new materials. I think the newest material I used were these markers that are supposed to be for black paper, and you just can't see it. And here's some black paper here. So I'll just show you. Can't see it. Can't see that. Can't see it. So I'm not real sure what type of black paper these are supposed to be used on, but it doesn't work on mine. This is a cardstock, a black cardstock, and I also have black bullet journals. I tried them in. It doesn't work for that either. I have more success with the Moonlight gel pens on black paper or the Uniball Signo. But I will do my best to list all of this for you in the description box. I hope that you enjoyed this update and seeing what I did for my October 2024 bullet journal setup and hearing a little bit about my progress in, my art classes. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!